You're listening to the Russ Sports Podcast with host Jason Collins. Tonight's show is brought to you by Smackin' Wings and Things, Sears Hometown Store of Russellville, and Williams Snack Shack. Enjoy the show. What's up, my slimes? It's your boy Jason Collins with another episode of the Russ Sports Podcast. I'm here with Lucas Branch. I'm here with Brandon Warner. Guys, it's a small panel, but we got a good panel for you guys. So let's get into the sports topics. First thing we're talking about is Cyclone football. Cyclones had their last game tonight. Oh, he turned that off. Cyclones had their last game tonight. Friday night. With an upsetting loss to Siloam Springs. The score was 50-47. Brandon Whitford, oh my gosh, I'm saying everybody's name wrong. Braden Whitford threw for 20, went 20 for 33, 322 yards, 60% completion percentage, and a QBR of 123. Latrell Thomas ran for 17 carries, 89 yards. Gavin Graham, leading receiver, 9 receptions for 150 yards and a touchdown. And Trey Potter, leading tackler, 13 tackles and 1 interception. So, guys, last game of the season, Cyclones don't make the playoffs. How do you think this season went as far as expectation from our point of view about the Cyclones? And, Brandon, I'll let you start it off right here.
I don't think we had very high expectations going into this season. I think we knew that they didn't have the talent that they've had in recent years. And, I mean, it would have been nice to make the playoffs, like especially having this chance in this game, but couldn't get it done. But I'm not surprised that they didn't make it. So,
yeah, Lucas.
Yeah, they've been on a steady decline ever since that 2016 championship game. I mean, You can just tell from the record. I mean, 2017, you go mediocre, 2018 mediocre, 2019's pretty bad, and then 2020 this year. I mean, how many wins do they have?
1. They beat Morrilton in the beginning of the year.
1. So,
but Morrilton was pretty bad this year too. So, I mean, that wasn't impressive whatsoever.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Maybe there needs to be a coaching change because it looks like the offense was doing everything they could, but just couldn't close it out against Silent Springs. It was kind of sad for these kids because, they've been working hard all season, even during COVID and stuff, and I just think they deserve better.
Yeah, man, especially for the senior class. They came in not really knowing how to win or really having a winning season, I don't think. And, I think their only winning season was their sophomore year, and the Cyclones went 7-3 during the regular season. But, yeah, man, it's just tough for these guys. I love Coach Weaver. To me, he just sounds like a hometown guy. I feel like he's going to be that guy that's going to just build a foundation here at Russellville. And it's going to take a little bit. But I don't see them getting rid of him anytime soon. Now, if this trend continues, then who knows what could happen. But, I don't see them getting rid of him anytime soon. But did this game show promise for the future of Cyclone football? And, Lucas, I'll let you start it off because out of all the stats I said, 2 of those guys, Latrell Thomas and Gavin Graham, those were both juniors and will be seniors next year. And there's a lot of other playmakers that were really balling out, like Gabe Hogue, he's a sophomore. Luke Covington was playing a little bit. I mean, they look like they got a good foundation to start off with for next year.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to quarterback play, really. I mean, BWitt had a terrific game to end his high school career on. I mean, 322 yards and a QBR of 123.5. I mean, that's pretty hard to achieve.
They're very, very efficient, very high.
Yeah, I mean, it's an impressive stat line for sure, but he's going to be gone next year. So Gavin Graham's stat line, I mean, 9 receptions, 150 yards, 1 TD. I mean, it's a great stat line again, but it depends on who they have at QB. Can he get the ball to Gavin Graham? I think that is the key question for next year is who, because Gavin Graham's obviously wide receiver number one next year. It just depends on who they have throwing to him, and I think that'll determine a lot of their season.
Especially with guys like Brady Burnett and Reed Wolf leaving this group. It was a pretty strong receiving core, I would say. A lot of guys that could stretch the field for them. But that next guy is looking like it's going to be Ben Hallmark. Now, Ben Hallmark is the brother of Dalton Hallmark, I'm pretty sure. Dalton Hallmark is a senior lineman. I think he's a right tackle, maybe. He might be left tackle, but 6'5", Dalton Hallmark is a beast, but that's a different story. But yeah, Ben Hallmark is looking like he's the quarterback of the future for the Cyclones. Brandon, what do you think about this quarterback coming in?
I don't really know a whole lot about him, but yeah, definitely it's going to come down to quarterback play and how well they're able to adjust. Because obviously during the season they didn't play very much, so they're going to have to call somebody up, play him. There's going to be a new role, new position to learn. They're going to have to learn a lot of different stuff, different offense. Be able to help the players in the huddle. Like I know our quarterback, he was able to help whenever if you forget to play, the quarterback's got to know what you're supposed to do and help you figure that out.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a tough task to put onto a kid's shoulders who hasn't played QB before. But I do think that this game showed a little promise with the running game looking really solid, and the receiving game looking pretty solid too. Granted, with a really solid performance at quarterback as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, solid performance from these Cyclones. I just wish them the best. I wish the seniors the best. We weren't able to get anybody on for this episode, but yeah, I really wish them the best. Hope they do good if they continue to play ball somewhere, or if they just go on to the workforce. I just hope they stay blessed and stuff. But this next group, I think will be special. I think Coach Weaver's going to have a lot to work with. I think he's going to get if there's any coaching changes, I think he's going to get it fixed up to where these guys get the best mentors around them to succeed. So I'm really excited to see what happens with that. But enough with Cyclone football. Let's move on to college football, man. Big games this week. Some huge upsets this week. I got two of them on here right now. There's one that could be debated as an upset, but I don't think it was. I think we all knew they were going to win. But this first game was definitely an upset to me. Florida takes down Georgia. Florida moves to number 6, and Georgia moves down to number 12. It was 44-28. So Florida is Florida the clear favorites out of the East now. And I'll let Brandon take this one.
Yeah, I definitely think they are. They have just a couple easy games coming up to set them up for the SEC championship versus Alabama, because it's looking like Alabama's not going to lose another game. And if they beat Alabama, I think that's the two teams that get in from the SEC is Florida and Alabama. And just the SEC is very stacked this year. And also with COVID, it makes it easier for us to get a couple teams in there in the playoff. But I mean, Notre Dame looked really good. So if Florida loses in the SEC championship, I think that they don't get in and somebody else sneaks in.
Lucas?
Yeah, they're definitely clear-cut number one favorites to win the SEC East. I don't see because Georgia was the only other question mark, and they handled Georgia. So I think it's pretty obvious from here on out. I mean, that loss to Texas A&M, it doesn't really matter at this point in time. Now, does Florida play Alabama later in the year?
I don't know. I do not know.
No,
I'm
they
gonna
don't.
go check and see. They don't? Okay, then I have Florida winning out and going to the SEC championship as a one-loss team.
All right. Okay. I see that. Now, here's this. Who has the better chance at getting into the playoffs? Is it Florida or Texas A&M? And Lucas, I'm going to bounce it back to you because this is a very interesting situation. Because if Florida ends up going to the SEC championship game and losing to Bama, that would knock them down pretty good. and that would give A&M, since they're right in front of them, actually, a chance to sneak in there. So what do you think?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. If Florida loses in the SEC championship, it does allow Texas A&M to sneak in through the back door. But at the same time, even I feel like Texas A&M as a two-loss team, I don't see them getting into the playoffs at all. I see the playoff committee choosing the SEC championship winner, the ACC championship winner, the Big Ten championship winner, and then depending on how Pac-12 goes, depending on how the ACC goes, if Notre Dame and Clemson, if Clemson beats Notre Dame, I got Notre Dame in at number 4. That's just how it is for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, Brandon, what about you?
Texas A&M with one loss. I think they have a chance to get in if Florida loses, but I don't see it as seeing as they didn't play for a SEC championship, so they don't have that extra game to play against a top opponent to prove themselves. So yeah, I think somebody else will be able to sneak in if Florida loses.
I give I give two of our spots in the college football playoffs to the SEC, just because of this situation. I mean, I see a situation similar to when Georgia was playing Alabama in the national championship game a few years back, to where it's almost, and I think for all these people, and I hate it because I know Bama's going to play us, and I know Florida's going to play us, but they're both probably going to beat us. But I just see all these teams winning out the rest of their schedule, and just seeing what happens. I mean, I don't see them putting a team like BYU or Cincinnati in over a Texas A&M or Florida if they lose. Um, but yeah, it's a really interesting situation, and I can't wait to see it play out. But the big game I really wanted to talk about was Notre Dame versus Clemson. Notre Dame moves up to number 2. Clemson moves down to number 4, still in the playoff contention. But the score is 47-40. Notre Dame, the new kings of the ACC for years to come, because that was a statement game right there. I mean, that was their first loss, and I think a while. I don't have it written down here, but it's been a while since they lost a game of that caliber like that. So, Brandon, is Notre Dame the new kings of the ACC?
I don't think so. I think Clemson's just got too good of a coaching staff, and they recruit very, very well. And plus, they didn't have Trevor Lawrence this game, so I mean, I know they had a 5-star backup QB, looks good, but Trevor Lawrence he's an NFL type quarterback, so you're definitely dropping down a level whenever you have to go to your backup. So I think Clemson's gonna beat them when they play on the ACC championship this year. So I think those being just the circumstances is why Notre Dame won this week. So
All right, Lucas.
Well, in terms of being the kings of the ACC for years to come, I would say no, because after this year, they're going back to being an independent, or at least that's what I was. I think everybody else was under the impression that the ACC was going to let them in for the COVID year, but then they were going to go back to being independent
Mm.
after.
Yeah, I was
Um,
surprised by that because I saw the ACC and like I was like, wait, I didn't even know that they even jumped into the ACC conference. I thought they were just like joining, just like, but I didn't think it'd be like a part of their jersey and like on their helmets and stuff. But they really like added it on there. I was really, I was really baffled by that, man. But yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know, man. Notre Dame really showed that they weren't scared of Clemson, and Clemson. I don't want to say it's the new Bama, but it's definitely a higher tier than Bama right now. Like in the past few years, I think it has been. But it really just showed that they weren't scared of Clemson, and that they have they have somebody that's equal to them in this conference, either for just this year or years to come. But I think